Hi everybody, thank you for coming back to my channel. Today, or at least during this video, um, there won't be any bowling videos. But I'm doing an interview with a couple of workers at a local pro shop that I'm dedicated to, and I want to make sure that they are clear of any personal opinions that I might share that they might not share. As pro shop workers, operators, owners, people need to be very careful with what they say about the USBC. So, to kind of go into detail about what's been going on, the USBC came out in the middle of a tournament. The I believe it was the USBC Masters, um, and stated that 6 bowling balls that have been distributed, produced, created by Storm Industries have failed the durometer test and are from then to now, so for the foreseeable future, are banned from USBC national events. The following 6 bowling balls are the Storm Phase 4, the Storm Electrify Solid, the Storm Trend 2, the 900 Global Altered Reality, the 900 Global Wolverine, and the Rotogrip UFO Alert. The entire process that the USBC has taken in the implementation of their durometer tests, when they issued these tests, how they issued these tests, and the results from their tests raise some serious questions. Not only does it look suspicious from a bowler's standpoint, but it looks suspicious from the average person's standpoint. So, for those of you who don't know, this ball band was not implemented in the at the beginning or at the end of a tournament. This particular ball band, or ban, I should say, which in my opinion is unprecedented, took place shortly after the final practice session for the USBC Masters. That's a problem, in my opinion, because when you're a professional bowler, you are dependent and you rely on those practice sessions. I'm sorry, my cat is annoying me. When you become comfortable after 2 days of practicing on a particular pattern with these particular bowling balls, and you find out the night before you start qualifying, when your scores matter, that 6 of the bowling balls that you brought with you, you can no longer use, that's not okay in my book. It would be okay if and this gets into the next point, if these tests were accurate. Now, testing for the hardness of a bowling ball is crucial in determining the legality of the ball. You have to be over the .70 durometer rating. And if you fall under that, your ball is considered too soft. And essentially, if your bowling ball is too soft, you theoretically would have an unfair advantage. Your ball might end up traveling through friction a little bit easier. It might be less aggressive off the spot. It might end up hitting a little bit harder. It'll have a lot more pin action down lane. The problem is the manufacturers of the durometer tests themselves has said time and time again that these tests are not exact science. Every durometer test, as far as I'm aware, has so many variables that it's impossible to get down to an exact science. And even when the PBA does their durometer tests, there is always an area of variable. So they account for 0.1 to 0.01 to 0.03 digits in between what their test is. The USBC is coming out and claiming that their tests are 100% accurate 100% of the time. And as someone who has studied science and scientific research in college, I can tell you that you are never going to find any type of research that is 100% right 100% of the time. Especially when you're doing scientific research on equipment that has dozens of different variables. The next part to my problem is how the USBC went about the testing of these 6 bowling balls. It's one thing to require testing for everybody at the USBC Nationals. It's another thing to directly call out members of the Storm staff, tell them that they need to bring their bowling balls to the testing facility, which I will say is very common in all PBA USBC events. But it's a whole different story when you refuse to tell the bowlers why their bowling balls and their equipment is being taken over to the testing facility, and then be doing it behind closed doors. When I saw Jason Belmonte's post about how the USBC was issuing these tests, I almost lost my mind. To refuse access to the owner of the equipment that you are testing, and refusal to explain what you're testing and why you're testing. We have every right to refuse giving the USBC our bowling balls. And Jason Belmonte was in every one of his rights to refuse the USBC his bowling equipment. That gets into another thing. The USBC made it sound that it was mandatory for all of the people that they asked to bring their equipment. And then Jason Belmonte was told that it was not mandatory. I'm not okay with that because that sounds ridiculously fishy. To kind of make it out to be all of these people that you're asking to bring their equipment in, and then saying that it's voluntary and you don't actually have to bring your stuff in only after the fact, something's going on there. One of the final points I want to mention is something that the USBC did in the middle of testing these bowling balls. Surfaces of bowling balls are extremely important to bowlers. I have 2 particular bowling balls that I never touch the surface on because A, I know that the particular surface that's on that ball is going to do exactly what I need it to do, and B, I've used it for so long with the surface on the ball that I trust it to score well. Per USBC rules, surface adjustments are not allowed to be made in the middle of events. It could be league, it could be a tournament. Once the games start, you cannot make adjustments to your bowling balls. Not only did the USBC check all of these bowling balls the night before qualifying, come to find out that they adjusted people's bowling balls without telling them. That I am 100% not okay with. None of the process that the USBC is going through, I'm okay with. If I ever found out that some of the balls that I used and were checked during testing were altered in any way, I more than likely would have lost it on the official. It's one thing to tell the person, oh, by the way, I need to adjust the surface of your ball to do this test or that test or whatever test you need. It's another story when you hide the fact that you're testing, not testing, I'm sorry, when you hide the fact that you're adjusting these surfaces, and you only find out as the owner of the bowling balls when you actually get them back. So, to kind of stack things up, you have an implementation of a test that the manufacturer of the test says is not an exact science and is claimed to be an exact science by the USBC. There's an absolute lack of transparency between the USBC and USBC members, PBA members, anybody who bowls in national events, because the USBC has failed to share their data. And when you have the USBC who's claiming that their tests are showing that all 6 of these bowling balls are faulty, and that their surfaces are too soft, but then you have another company like Storm who, when receiving these 6 bowling balls from, I would have to say, probably tens of thousands of people around the country and even around the world, and they're testing over the durometer meter level, there's a problem. I'm not saying that Storm's numbers are right. I'm not saying that the USBC numbers are wrong. I would say that a third party would really need to get involved and figure out and implement a test that you can prove is an exact science, because the durometer test is not an exact science. You can't have the USBC governing body say that these balls failed the test and then send those same balls to the Storm headquarters and they pass every single time. That's part of the entire problem. Thirdly, going further down the list, away from when these tests were issued and the fact that the tests don't actually work, is the lack of openness and honesty with USBC members and professional bowling association members. Hiding bowling ball surface adjustments and not allowing for the owners of the balls to be in attendance while you test is a serious problem. And that opens the door for situations like we're in now to occur. And not only occur now, but occur in the future. And I really think that it sets a really negative precedent going forward. For me, it's like if you go to vote in a presidential election and the polling center is completely closed up, and they only allow one person in at a time, and you can't see in and you can't see out. It raises too many questions. It looks very suspicious, and it causes people to be very angry. Um, do I blame owners of these 6 bowling balls? Do I blame them for being angry? No, I don't. Because I'm one of those owners. I own a Phase 4. I was so excited about that Phase 4, I ended up getting it for my birthday. And it was a gift from my girlfriend. I talked up the Phase 2 and Storm so much, and I was really looking to add one more piece to my bag. And we all know that the Phase 2 is a fantastic ball, but sometimes if the lanes get a little bit too wonky, it has trouble getting through the fronts because of the cover. And the Phase 4 was a pearl version of the Phase 2. So it fit perfectly into my bag. Thankfully, the state that I live in, or at least the bowling center that I spend my life at, has said that until told otherwise by the PBA, they will not be enforcing this ban, for many of the reasons that I've already stated. So it's been left up to local agencies and specific tournaments. I know that there was one tournament series that I was dedicated to that made the decision to enforce this ban, and since then I have removed myself from association with them. Going forward, maybe they have a change of heart. Maybe I'll go back. Who knows? Um, but it's a really complex and complicated situation, for professional bowlers and anyone who's interested in bowling at USBC Nationals events. I bowl with several people who bought balls like the Altered Reality, the Wolverine, the UFO Alert, specifically for the USBC Nationals. And the exchange program, it's not working. And the entire situation is screwed up. I can't really talk much more about it just for the sake of time, because I could be here for the next 45 minutes. But situations like this, are perfect examples of people in places of power taking out personal agendas against another group of people. And this isn't affecting just Jason Belmonte, who I personally feel has been a direct target and the face of all of this controversy. This is affecting the average league bowler or amateur bowlers who are looking forward to USBC Nationals events. Because not only are you putting their well being at risk, you're putting the sake of a lot of pro shops and a lot of people who sell these balls. You are causing a lot of damage to them. Going forward, I don't see this ending well for USBC. The amount of people who I've seen rally behind Storm, and have Storm's back has been absolutely phenomenal. And for all of you out there who have Storm's back and who are dedicated to Storm Industries, I 100% of my heart thanks you, for all of the kind words that you have said about Storm, all of the support that you're giving them and continue to give them. And for all of the people who, like me, were on the fence about what's happening with Storm Industries and the USBC, give it some time. The Storm Bowling has been around longer than I've been alive. And their number one goal is customer satisfaction. Regardless of the outcome of these 6 bowling balls, Storm will make it right. They will figure out a way to make the situation better for the consumer. While it might not benefit them, it will certainly benefit the person who has any of these bowling balls. So I just want to thank you for sitting down to listen to me give my spiel about the USBC. I don't have any hatred towards USBC staff members. I don't have hatred towards anybody in high places of power. I'm just airing out my frustrations with the process that the USBC took, because I think there was a really big lack of transparency. There were a lot of things done behind closed doors that cannot be done behind closed doors, and there was a lot of truth hiding. So I really hope that the USBC reverses their decision on these 6 bowling balls, because I personally don't think that there's any reason why these 6 bowling balls should be banned if the tests that they're using are incorrect. But hopefully within the next few months there is a solution, because as of right now, people are angry, people are pissed off, and for a governing body who is already struggling to maintain membership rates and people coming back to the USBC, this is going to hurt them a hell of a lot more than it's going to hurt Storm. So thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you guys out on the lanes. Thank you.